Welcome to the Better Than That Other League podcast. That's always hard to say, but I'm joined this week by Goose and Kevin Jakeway. They've been here before. They're not new to this, so we're going to jump right in to last week's recap. Let's see the matchups, boys. We're starting right off with. Let's see. Tom held on to beat me. Chase needed like one more catch, and Tom made the perfect meme for. Next, we had Kevin handled Eric pretty well. It's tough to compete when all your players have red Q's next to their name, or D's or O's. Unfortunately, that's a lot of his players. Dave remained dominant in his win to take down Sean, who went from first down to fifth place. We had Chris and Jimmy with two high-scoring affairs. Jimmy with a valiant effort, but Chris came out victorious. Spoondog defeats Ben, or Bean. It didn't take much, but Spoondog gets his first win of the season. Last but not least, Nick with his victory. Yeah, Nick with his victory. He moves to second place. So those were the matchups for this week, and I'm going to scroll down here. We'll take a look at the standings. Dave, 3-0, most points for. He's been looking pretty red hot. Dave, you have anything to say about that?
It's a mix of red hot and it's a mix of luck. I've been very fortunate to have some of the highest scoring players on my team the last 2 weeks. So.
Sorry, I was on a little bit of mute because I didn't want to have you guys listen to that crack of the ice cold beer. Yeah, Dave, I have more to say about your team later on. If you guys could choose one team, both Dave and Kevin, who's a fraud? It could be a team at the very top who shouldn't be there, or it could be a team at the very bottom who shouldn't be there either.
I know Spooner is down out of the playoff race right now. I get it's only week 3, but I think Spooner's got I'm checking the standings now, the third highest scoring team, and he's sitting at 7th. So I think Spooner's going to make some moves over the next couple of weeks and make his way closer to the top of that leaderboard.
So I'll go the other route. I will say shake and bake. I think he's hanging on by a thread with Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor, but I think it's going to kind of even out and he could find himself towards the bottom, missing the playoffs.
Gotcha. Both really good answers. Kevin, I like yours too. I'll give mine in a little bit. Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Well, let's take a look at the memes. This was the one that Tom had made just especially for me. Chase just needed one more catch to pull off a win. Unfortunately, it just didn't. Yeah, it was a hilarious one. And then obviously there's a bunch about Eric. And I don't mean to rip on Eric, but I mean, these are good quality memes. I'll be honest with you. We have one about Dave.
Are you gay?
Let's not talk.
Maybe I'm just insecure, but am I still your bitch? Man, what kind of silly question is that? Of course you still my bitch.
That one's really good.
They're great. Yeah. I don't know what program he uses to make these, but they are top tier.
Whatever program it is, Tom, keep it up. Keep it up, buddy. All right. We have a new segment today brought to you by this beer here. It's delicious. We're going to talk about players who we should trade for, or trade for players who we think could be league winners going on to, the rest of the season. So who wants to go first?
I'll take first. I know that the last time I was on with Dave here, it was after week 1, and we were going over overreactions, and Dave made a good point about, not overreacting to like the rookie quarterbacks or like the rookie players that maybe didn't break out yet. So one of my candidates for who we want to trade for, I actually, both of them, oddly enough, come from the same team, and they were both sitting on people's benches this past week. So I'll kind of do a package deal and give you both of mine. It's Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. Jaden Daniels, I think, is given 3 startable weeks in terms of his fantasy production. And then Terry McLaurin is like catching up now. We see him starting to make strides, and obviously the game on Monday night this past week was, I know he was on, I forget who had him. I think it might have been Nick had him sitting on his bench, which is too bad, but it didn't seem to matter because Nick still won. But, it was both of those guys, I think, are really coming into their own. And it's like, Dave going back to that week 1 of just like, don't panic. Those guys are going to start to kind of find their groove. And those two definitely have seemed to find their groove. So, those are 2 guys that are on people's benches. I'm looking at Nick's team right now. He's got Jefferson, Godwin, Metcalf as his receivers. So like, I get not starting McLaurin, but like he's definitely startable. So that's a guy that, I think we could trade for. And then I forget who had Daniels.
I think Brad.
Here. Let's see.
Brad has Jaden Daniels.
Was
Brad,
Chris?
yeah,
Or was Brad?
Yeah, Brad's got Daniels, and then if I look at his starter here, he's got Josh Allen. So it's like
Josh
you're probably
Allen,
not
yeah.
ever going to start him over Josh Allen. But he's a very, he's definitely in that, top 12 QB, especially for a fantasy standpoint. Those are 2 guys. Those are my 2 guys.
And I think that our scoring system, being that all touchdowns are worth 10 points, I think does take away from Jaden Daniels, upside and being like a QB1, because he's, he has the ability to have 10 rushing touchdowns or more this season alone.
Yeah, he's already got 3. So
what people tend to forget is that the preseason isn't really the preseason anymore. Like, it's really the first 3 weeks of the NFL season are when the quarterbacks, and especially rookie quarterbacks and the receivers, start getting acclimated. So I like the McLaurin because this is now week 3, week 4. I think this is what you can expect from Jaden Daniels and McLaurin going forward. For mine, pick Jalen Hurts as a trade for candidate. Right now, his top 2 guys are hurt. Saquon Barkley's been killing it. So I think, everyone looks at Hurts and, he's not being the top 3 guy. He's supposed to be the top, the best quarterback in the league. And, I think once he gets Devonta Smith back and A.J. Brown back, they'll start leveling out. They won't be relying on Saquon as much as they've been. And, obviously he's going to get his rushing touchdowns. His last game, I think he had like over 300 yards passing, but he just didn't have a touchdown. So, he's still putting up numbers, just doesn't have the touchdown production right now. So, that could be a guy to target for a run later in the year. And then kind of piggybacking off of Kevin's a little bit, my second guy is Drake London. Kind of similar to what I said earlier. He's got a new quarterback. I think it just took him a few weeks to kind of get the ball rolling, and now that their offense is kind of is clicking and the timing's down between him and Cousins, I think we can expect a bit more from Drake London going forward.
Nice, Dave. My 2, my first one is CJ Stroud. And I only say that because this is the cheapest that you're going to be able to get him right now. He had his first 3 weeks have been not anywhere near what he was capable of last year. I mean, he's only scored 20 points, I think, the last couple weeks, which is not great for where somebody drafted him. Not to name any names. And then my second one is going to be James Cook. I think he is definitely going to continue exactly what he's been doing these next 3 weeks with Buffalo's offense. I think he's RB1, in that system. He can be easily RB1 for our league in fantasy too. So I think if you want a chance, if there's someone out there who's got a horrible running back situation, I think James Cook could be the guy that could help you win a championship. So those are our trade for candidates. So, all right, we're going to move on to the week 4 matchups. All right, boys. Let's see here. Kevin, I'm going to have you take it away. You are reviewing mine and Spoondog's matchup. So let's hear what you got to say. Be nice to me.
Yeah, I tried to pick 4 teams that I didn't review previously. So a couple question marks there on Jesse's side. I know Chase and Dell are both questionable. They're probably both slated to play. So nothing too worrisome there. I think Jerome Ford's slated to play there too. Picking up Roschon Johnson, that was a guy that I had drafted and dropped pretty early on, but he had a pretty good week last week. I really do think Spooner is going to start making moves. Montgomery's going to have another touchdown this week. That's just kind of inevitable. And then he just has some big play potential guys. Brees Hall, A-Chain, even like Smith and Jigba, like Dave was saying, I think this is like the week where you kind of figure out who people are. And going back to even watching that guy in college, like he's so good. He's so good. And I think Gino's going to finally kind of figure it out with him. And that'll be a pretty good connection. Hopefully he scores a lot more points than Metcalf this week for my sake. But sorry, Jesse, I got to give it to John. He's been putting up a ton of points. His 1-2 record just doesn't reflect where he should be. I think he's going to make a pretty big jump from like 7th up until like the top 2 or 3 after this week.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, I'm not down as bad as Eric is, but I still feel pretty down, I don't know if you guys know, I like the Taylor Swift song, Down Bad Crying at the Gym. Okay, all right.
Kincaid turned it around a
Who's
little bit
that?
last
I don't
week,
know who
though.
that
I think
is.
he's going to start stepping it up for you, but John's just got too much going on.
Oh, yeah. I agree. Next, I believe I'm slated to me. I believe so. Yeah. I'm going to review Dave and Jimmy's matchup. I love that Jimmy is being active on the waiver wire. You can tell this year, for some reason, you can tell that he is hungry. He's hungry for a chip. And I believe Jimmy hands Dave his first loss this week. Dave, you're unfortunately in my fraud category for reasons that you stated yourself, right? A lot of your wins have been based on some crazy outlandish scoring by one player every week. Obviously, you had Jennings last week who put up an 80 burger. Week 2, you had Kamara who put up an 80 burger. And then week 1, I don't know, you had your defense that scored 60 points. Again, these are just like huge outliers that are just kind of catapulting you to easy wins. which that's not going to hold up, I don't think. And so, yeah, and I think Jimmy's going to get this dub. I think with the help of Burrow, and I love Khalil Shakir and his role in the Buffalo offense, and how he's getting targeted by Josh Allen a lot. And there's no denying Saquon Barkley has changed the Philadelphia offense, and him getting all the touches he is. I mean, Kelsey is just, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Is it the Taylor Swift effect? I don't know. Is it his age, or is it our defensive just shutting him down? We don't know. I heard there's some beef between Kelsey and Mahomes. Well, I don't know. We won't get into that political stuff. But anyways, yeah, I believe Jimmy is gonna hand you your first loss of the season, Dave. Yeah. Dave, I'm going to have you take a look at Ben versus Sean.
Ben versus Sean. I'm gonna keep this one simple. Ben wins if AJ Brown comes back, but if AJ Brown is gone again, which he's slated to be, he hasn't practiced yet, Sean's gonna win this one easy.
Okay,
Ben might get big game from Connor and Hurts, but other than that, I just don't see much firepower behind Ben's team this week.
Yeah. I agree. Kevin, what do you have to say about Brad versus Chris?
Yeah. I think I talked about Brad when I talked about the trade thing. He's got two awesome quarterbacks. I actually like Brad's team quite a bit. Harrison had, a really good game a couple weeks ago and was kind of held in check last week. Smith, I think Smith is supposed to be out this week, isn't he? I thought
he should be out.
This is a
concussion.
Yeah, I think this is a really even. It's just really even. You got Laporta. You don't know if he's going to be playing with that low ankle sprain. Hubbard's been surprisingly serviceable. He looked okay last week. I'm going to go. Let's see. I'll go with Brad on this one. I think Brad, just for the simple fact with what I was kind of talking about, John, like he's got a bunch of guys that have big play potential. Like if Harrison gets going, or Allen could drop 1,000 points in a week, it seems like. So, if any one of those guys hits, even like Gibbs, I think he could get going too. Singletary's been solid. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Brad this week.
Solid choice, Kev. I like it. All right, I have the pleasure of reviewing Eric versus Tom, and I have a prop for this one. They're going to need a lot of this for this matchup, both Tom and Eric. They're going to need some toilet paper, okay? Because this is going to be a shit show. I believe. Well, I believe Tom's going to easily win this matchup. And I know Eric's gonna score a little bit more points than he normally has been. Because I think Higgins is actually gonna, he's gonna be more involved in the offense. Shaheed's gonna not put up a 0 like he did last week. But still, I think competing with some of Tom's players, Rice is looking like a top 5 wide receiver. St. Brown is a top 5 wide receiver. Prescott going against a really beat up New York Giants defense. They're just going to throw the ball all over them. So I think it's a no-brainer. Tom wins this one pretty easily. So Eric, use that toilet paper, clean up the mess that Tom's going to make on you, and that sounds pretty bad. But Yeah, let's just move on to our next matchup.
I got a question before you do. Do you keep that toilet paper in the studio just in case, or did you have to bring that?
Oh no,
in?
I have. I mean, I spend a lot. I spend 10 hours a day in here doing research and everything, and so like I don't leave the spot. I have a little portable John here, so never know when you need it.
Good.
Little poop bowl.
Exactly.
It's good to be prepared.
Next matchup, last but not least, we have Kevin versus Nick. Two great teams, second and third place. Dave, let's hear it.
All right, Kev. I can give you a little props.
I'll take him.
You picked a stud in Neighbors. All right, he's going to be a stud for you the rest of the season. That being said, I gotta go Nick this week. Nick just has too many matchups in his favor. Metcalf at Detroit, Godwin at Philly, Baker at Philly. Kyron's got to go up against the tough Chicago defense. Stevenson against San Fran. Waddle, who's going to be his quarterback. And Richardson against Pittsburgh. You might struggle to find some points this week, Kevin. So I picked you last time, but I got to go against you this time.
That's fair. Baker and Godwin against Philly's defense might outscore my whole team anyway. Philly's defense is so bad.
I don't know.
Pretty bad.
I honestly could see Lamb putting up his own 80 points this week. I think it could be closer than you think.
I mean, we will find out.
I think it could be closer.
Depending on when we're watching this. I'm assuming we can find out tonight if this is uploaded on Thursday. But having the Lamb Neighbors matchup on a Thursday night football game is going to be exciting for me. So I hope it's 101 to 100, and I hope they have all the touchdowns. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, guys, last but not least, we will do the mystery prize. I believe Nick won last week's. He had James Cook, who had the most receiving yards by a running back, and Chris Singleton took home most points. So here's your week 4 mystery prize. We got another running back one. It's the running back with the most rushing yards. Okay.
Ooh.
Glad Kyron's going up against Chicago this week.
Yeah, my running backs they have no chance. So I'll give that $15 to someone else. All right, any last words?
Good luck, everybody. I'm not
good
playing
luck this
any
week,
of you
guys.
this time. So
we all need all the luck we can get, right? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, you guys have a great week, and we'll catch you later. Bye, everybody.
See you guys.